Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hey, what's good? What's good, good people? I was running a little behind, y'all. So I know I started on time, but getting everything set up is doing some new things to the studio for the new content that's coming. All right, good people. I'm gonna give it a little time for people to get in here. Ladies, what's going on? Good morning. Good morning. You need this for real? For real? I just figured out what FR means, so I'm hip, y'all. I'm hip on this. All right. Ghost, Grand Rising Ghost Tribe. Grand Rising Ghost people. Y'all see it? All right. So the 2 minute mark been passed. Ah, let me wipe a little bit of the morning workout off my face. All right, everybody. We're gonna talk about something. We're gonna talk about something that a lot of people are afraid to talk about. And y'all know I believe in giving praises and honors to those of the tribe who instill something, an idea, a concept or something into my life and allow me to meditate on it and I can share it with you guys. So although he is not aware of this, this ancestor prayer is dedicated to Adam O. I was editing his reading, and the conversation got so good that I'm like, man. So I had to meditate on the conversation, and it was just an excellent conversation. And then I went into my prayer closet and started doing what I do, and then Spirit was like, yeah, let's talk about that because that's a lost subject. So that's that. So now we're going to talk about ancestors, but we're going to talk about our primal. And the reason I'm not using the word primitive is two different things. And people cross those up as if they're the same damn thing. It don't even go in the same genre. If you say something is primitive, that means that's low level, low intelligence, lower than what you are dealing with now. But if you say primal, that puts it back to a back to nature sense. I mean, something that's untainted, uh, something that haven't been touched by, the egos or the vices or the luxuries that we have today in our lives because they had luxuries back then. So it goes like that. Now, why should we be honoring our primal ancestors? Why? And I'll tell you why. We should be honoring the primal ancestor because these are the ancestors that had to go through much more bull than we ever will in our lifetime. This is where there was no advancements in medical policies and procedures and medicine antibiotics. These people had to get it from the dirt. A scratch on your ass, you're dead in 3 days, with the bacteria and all that stuff back there. These are the guys and females that had to go out there and scrounge for their food every day. They couldn't just go up here to the grocery market. They literally had to go hunt and they had to eat. And as I'm seeing the vision of what they had to do, And it's wild. Even if they wasn't hungry, get this. Even if they wasn't hungry back in the day, and an opportunity for food arrived, they would still have to eat it. They would still have to eat it because they didn't know where their next meal was coming from. Even if they wasn't thirsty, they would still have to take a drink at every water source they came to. And to think of the agony of your belly always being full for 2 3 days, then the negative, then the concept of your belly being empty for the next 5 days. So it was a strong, stringent survival mechanism. Not only that, they had to deal with predators and animals that was hunting them down. They had to deal with tapeworms and every damn thing else that was out there on them. They had to deal with the lack of just substance at times, and we typically don't recognize those particular ancestors. We want our, and again, people, if I step on toes, that means you need to lift your foot up and get your ass in gear. We tend to think about those ancestors that only started 400 or 500 years ago. During slavery, that's where Black history start. That's where everybody ancestry start. It's like our brain can't function that there was a primitive, a primal side. My bad, a primal ancestor. There was a motherfucker that didn't have this English language, didn't have the Kenyan language, didn't have the Scottish heritage language. This is them dealing in each other with grunts, signs and symbols, that type of thing. So a lot of those get thrown by the wayside. Those primitive boys and girls don't get no love, no help, no shit. And as far as I can think, and again, I'm taking this all the way back to what I'm known to be as primitive as my understanding can go, because I can only talk to you guys about my understanding. And when spirit downloads something to me, it's dealing with what I've experienced in life and my understanding. So I'm gonna take it to the Aborigines people. Maybe we're related in some diaspora down the line. Maybe they're our ancestors. I don't know. But the most unchanged, untouched person on the planet of the earth is the majority of the Aborigines that live in the mountains, in the desert, in the flatlands, Australia, etc., etc. Those people got ancient magic, y'all. Big time ancient magic. And their culture and civilization has been untouched, untainted for so long. The real ones. I mean, you got the ones that get modernized, and then apartheid come and run them through, and they still facing racisms and everything that's going over there in that country. Dealing with the Aborigines people, and my heart goes out to them because we've been going through this shit for 400 500 years, and who's to say they haven't been going through it longer? Because they are ancient source. Well, when we take it back to the most ancient man, and you see what those people had to deal with, they had to deal with a rat with a plague that can wipe out your whole entire village, your whole entire tribe, your whole entire lineage. That was the shit they had to overcome so we can be here. You dealing with them that had to instill in our soul that everything in the dark with two eyes, a mouth, and a nose, or something similar, we need to scurry up a tree and hide and shit. Because we didn't know. They taught us instinctively in our soul, they taught us fear, they taught us caution, they taught us survival. Because let the history book say we were just dumb monkeys running around there, walking, a bird swoop down, take our ass up in there, and there we go, we feed 13 other eggs. We have to give respect to our ancient ancestors. Now, those are the most ancient I can think in my mind. Now let's take it back to my country of Africa, right? When we talk about ancient ancestors in Africa, again, what we see is the mud huts and the half-naked man with the spear and the colors. And as a kid, we used to joke about her. Oh, look at her, your mom is a Kenbutu slave and shit. We used to joke about that shit, right? As you get older, you realize, like, nigga, that's your ancestor. That's your heritage. That's your culture. Even when we get down, and I'm finna address all my Caucasian people out there now. Again, Caucasians, if I offend you, God damn it, do your research. You'll understand it's not offensive. This is fact. And if you're gonna be on this channel and you're gonna do ancestor worship, I'm not just gonna worship all African American black ancestors. I'm not gonna worship all Chinese and Asian ancestors. Y'all gotta get some worship in too. So when we sit up there and we want to deal with the Caucasian ancestors, you got to take this shit all the way back to you guys' most original ancestor. This is why we saying primal. So if you haven't looked it up and you haven't understand what a Sami is, look up the Sami people. They get way back there back in the days in Greenland, Iceland, and reindeers and shit, elves and shit. You see why the elven race is such a powerhouse race in every diaspora you think? Elves, they stronger than whatever. They more because of the Sami people. So Caucasian people do not understand how this came to be about. Now, fun fact, because I love teaching y'all. Fun fact. Did you know, and when you Google the Sami people, understand where we're going. Thank you there, Corey. Appreciate that. Think Google the Sami people, and you think about this. In every medieval times, when it was in medieval times, every king had him a court jester, had him somebody that will make him laugh, had him somebody that he considered to be a fool, had him somebody that can ease the tension. Damn court jester be sitting over there in the corner, king pissed off at the world. Jester, make me laugh. Jester come out there, tell a joke, do a spin, slap a stick on the ground, fall and bust his ass, throw hot water on themselves. I don't know what the fuck they did back in the day. But and I'm telling you this right now, my Caucasian people, that this is an ancestor of yours that most of you guys ain't even tapping into. You guys just, we know what the history books say, but you guys just didn't materialize out of nothing. There had to be a starting point. Just like everybody else on this planet, they had to have a starting point. So back to it. So now, you go with the jesters. Every kingdom had one. Why? I don't remember. Hey, hear me out, good people. I don't remember not one time when I was watching TV growing up, cartoon shows and reading history books, Shakespeare, etc., etc. I don't remember seeing a black jester in any king's court. There was always little white people with the little funny cuckoo joker style hats and shit and face painted white with red. So now when we talk about giving ancestor praise, my Caucasian friends and family, you need to go back and you need to look into your ancestor history and realize what the fuck you all did to survive. Those people was in no medieval castle making the king laugh, keeping the king's nonsense at bay so they wouldn't wipe out half of the goddamn thing just because they had a bad day. They were constipated from eating too much cheese. You see where I'm going? Now, how many of you guys, if it's some Caucasian people on this bit, how many of you guys actually say a prayer on your ancestor altar for the Sami people, the original tribe? I'm going to educate you all in everything's ancestry because I was educated in everything ancestry. And ancestry is not a person. It's in here. It's an idea. It's an emotion. Again, I told you, I'd rather have a whole ancestor any day than a piece of a god. That statement is so true. I know that they are factual. But if we don't understand or we don't know where our ancestors reside or who our ancestors was, then who the hell you praying to? You guys are praying to my ancestors. Oh, hold up. Adam and Eve, everybody was black when it first started. Everything came from the cradle of Africa. Everything was black. Baron, no white man existed on the earth. They mutates and everything else. I done heard it all, man. It's hurtful shit to say, even stressful to hear. But logic dictates we all came from somewhere. Even if a hybrid was made somewhere, we all came from somewhere. And that person, hybrid, that was made needs to have their worship too. Because that hybrid, that primitive, primal ancestor had to learn, had to come go through this, had to go through that. They had to educate their DNA structure, their spiritual man. They had to get educated on some level that they can pass those traits on, that they can educate somebody else. And you don't tell me that the most ancient tribe that you want to call the Caucasian man, the Sami people, when they got the modernization, you don't think that they had to go through bullshit to survive as well? We're the only culture of melanated people, indigenous, whatever, that just went through shit. And the reason why this come up, right? And again, Adam O, as we had our conversation, I was editing his reading. You know, we was talking about stuff in Castlevania, Dracula, that type of thing, and the conversation got real good. That video will air Wednesday, I think the 8th, December 8th, 2021. But you sit up there and you think about this, right? We discredit so many other races as if we, black people, Africans, are the only thing that should have an existence on this planet. And we're not taking over the economy. We're not running the government. We're not doing anything like that. We're still getting our ass whipped and our incomes drained and shit because we're not understanding and processing that this shit will happen once we become a unity. All this separate people shit, separate culture shit, that's all part of the game. So my ancestors will come and help your ancestors heal themselves from all the wrong they did. And yours should come over here and help mine to heal mine for all the wrong that we did. I want you guys to get it. This is a unity. This is a collective unity when it comes to our ancestor worship. My ancestors aren't better than yours. We probably existed on this planet a lot longer. Hell, you want to talk about somebody being here longer than us? Talk about the Aborigines. They still drawing on fucking rocks now. I, I just wanted to share that. So I'm gonna get back on topic because it kind of pissed me off to have a conversation with one of my friends, one of my homeboys, and to hear them talk so grimy, talk so grimy about the Caucasian race as if it's not some good ones out there. If it's all just bad and you should avoid them at all costs. It pissed me off a little bit because that's not my inner here. So I got that off my chest. Thank you guys for listening. So when we talk about our primal ancestors, we got to talk about the ancestors who did more, had to go through more, and who lived the fear-based lifestyle forever. They lived the fear-based lifestyle until they passed away. Fear. These are the ancestors that was constantly in fear. They were in fear of their lives. They was in fear of having babies. They was in fear of not being enough. They was in fear of not getting enough drink, getting enough food. They was just in fear their 90% of their life. And the only little bliss they had was the hunt, the gather, the communion, the prayers, the dancing and the singing. And I think we need to honor that primal ancestor. I think we need to give them so much praise and so much glory because we wouldn't be here if it weren't for them. We don't know. I don't know how the world started. I don't know how humanity started. I don't know who I don't know, was it Adam and Eve? I don't know if it was in a petri dish, and I don't know if it was a goddamn brother that came down and started screwing up the goddamn world. I don't know. I wasn't there. But I gotta recognize that primal instinct that the first man had to sow his seed, to spread that thing. And again, I'm again, I like the teaching. I'm finna get into metaphysical with this shit too. So y'all ain't just gonna get a talk. This ain't the Baron's rant. This is real deal. I want you guys to understand. So let's get into another historical figure, right? Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan said the world was his. He ruled the bitch. Came from the Mongoloids, the Asiatic Mongols, or however they called them, you know, which I thought was a insult, but it was an actual terminology used back then. Mongoloids or Mongoloid, forgive me. So Genghis Khan, his whole thing was he said, every world I conquer, we need to fuck them. I'm gonna spread that seed. Why did this man have that inkling in his mind? Because he understood the power of an ancestor. He understood that even after his demise, that the energy that he laid down with all of those women, his tribes people, his culture, every country they did, boom, they hit it, made babies. That's why half of us got these chunky ass eyes. And excuse me for again, I don't know. I'm telling you how I grew up. We call Chinaman eyes, chunky eyes. That a portion of that shit is in us. So when I talk about ancestor prayer, we are all connected in some way. Genghis Khan spreaded that seed all over the bitch. Hell, you got lint from 5,000 years ago in China, you know, and the motherfucker ain't never been to China. That's what I'm saying. Now let's talk about, and I'm gonna get to the metaphysical part of this, but I want you guys to understand when I talk about primal where I'm coming from with this. Let's talk about the Nordics, the Vikings, blonde haired, blue eyed Scandinavians. Let's get all in that up in their ass, right? They didn't believe in passing on their seed. They say we raid a village, we gonna destroy everything, we'll rape and pillage, we'll do whatever, but after we get done, slip, we don't pass our seed down to the low lives, the no goods, the beneath us. Why? Do you see what happened? And now you have the Euro, ah, fuck it, I'm sick of being politically correct. Now you have the white boys from Europe, and they are being outnumbered. They are becoming the minority here. Nobody chose to pass their seed. But then you see the Asiatic influence, which is Genghis Khan. Shit, everybody, all of us got a percentage of Asian DNA in us. You see the difference? If we're gonna do this thing right about our ancestors, we need to look at all areas. Again, my biggest issue is every time we talk about an ancestor, we talk about the one lady holding a machete up to somebody's neck, fuck that, and you see the pictures about some police officer, some doctor fucking with the kid. That's all we is. We just a grandma with a turban on, a skirt, and a machete. That's our most empowering picture.